In my hand, 2 federal indictments naming 80 people involved in an alleged racketeering conspiracy at Eastern Correctional Institution in Westover. Officials saying correctional officers worked with prisoners to bring in contraband and distribute it throughout the prison. Today in Baltimore, United States Attorney Rod Rosenstein calling this the biggest case that's set to come through the United States District Court for the District of Maryland. Arrests came Wednesday as federal indictments were handed down for those believed to have participated in bringing in heroin, Suboxone, synthetic marijuana, cell phones, and more to Eastern Correctional Institute in Westover. These documents explain how 18 correctional officers, dozens of inmates, and those on the outside helped facilitate what United States Attorney Rod Rosenstein called a massive smuggling, money laundering, and drug-selling operation. According to the indictment, the operation began in 2013 with a tip from a corrections officer. Investigators say the COs had been taking bribes in the form of money and sexual favors to smuggle contraband into the prison. Prisoners who had special work privileges, which allowed them to move about the prison, would take the contraband and distribute it. Smuggled in burner phones allegedly helped inmates organize these activities.
But it was the cell phones, the ability of the inmates to contact the facilitators outside, to stay in contact with correctional officers who were participating in the conspiracy. Those cell phones fueled the operations of this criminal enterprise.
The question, though, how did they manage to pull this off? Rosenstein says upper management at the prison did not participate in the operation. Instead, it was agreed that led these officers down the wrong path.
Causes it is the financial incentives that the correctional officers face by virtue of the large profits that can be earned through smuggling at these facilities.
Rosenstein using the example of Suboxone strips, a popular drug in the prison that could be purchased for $3 a strip outside the prison, but that went for up to $50 inside the walls, over a 1,000% profit. But how did this go unnoticed? Rosenstein says COs would alert prisoners of searches so they could hide contraband and even used violence as a means to make sure no one spoke out.
Perhaps the most shocking allegation in the indictment that a correctional officer arranged for an inmate to be attacked by other inmates because the inmate was feared to have cooperated. And the correctional officer arranged for another inmate to attack and stab that first inmate.
Ultimately, though, officials say it was an uninvolved correctional officer that brought this scandal to light, first alerting the warden, who in turn sent word up the chain. It's for that reason that Patrick Moran, president of the union that represents the correctional officers, says these actions are not indicative of the workforce as a whole.
The fact that an officer brought this to the fore and brought this to management's attention is, just a reflection of the fact that, the vast majority, 99.998% of the officers out there are doing the right thing.
So what is being done to ensure this won't happen again? Officials say that the prison task force has recommended using new technology, more drug screenings, and enhanced supervision of officers. Statewide, they have also already begun polygraph testing all CO applicants to ensure only the best get in. And as for anyone else who may be conducting similar operations, the state had this message.
Make no mistake about it. Anybody who is corrupt, we will fine you. And with our law enforcement partners, we will prosecute you and we will send you to prison.
Now I have word from state officials that the correctional officers indicted in this case will keep their jobs and are suspended without pay until their court cases are held. Reporting in Baltimore, Julian Sador, 47 ABC. This has been the scene here most of the day in Fruitland, Maryland, as Maryland State Police investigators have found a decomposing body behind the 100 block of South Division Street. Right now, details are limited, but police do say this is being looked at as a homicide investigation.
And there's always a lot of fights there, and there's a lot of parties and stuff.
That's Michael Della Penna. He lives next door to where the body was found. He says the man who lives next door is a nice guy and wouldn't harm a fly, but questions other people that may have visited the home. State police did not comment on any possible suspects. They say they got a call Monday night about a homicide that happened 9 months ago and that the body was buried behind a home on the 100 block of South Division Street. By Tuesday morning, Maryland State Police had found what they were looking for, a body wrapped in a blanket, put in in a shallow grave.
The body is definitely decomposed. We can't identify the person at this time, male or female.
So far, police tell me the investigation is too new to say whether or not they have any credible leads or suspects, but they say they are looking at this as a homicide investigation. Reporting in Fruitland, Julian Sidor, 47 ABC.
For some, the drive to Chincoteague Island for the annual pony swim took hours.
I'm from originally Darlington, Maryland.
For others, it took days. Melissa Hanna and her daughter Julia split their 10-hour drive from Beaver Creek, Ohio into 2 days.
There's a lot of stuff to bring in a beach trip. And I have my grandfather lives in Pittsburgh, so we stopped halfway and made a nice little visit out of it.
But they aren't the only ones far from home. Catherine Schumer and her daughter Christine flew from Charlotte, North Carolina. They say the appeal comes from Christine's love of the children's novel Misty of Chincoteague.
Until I researched it, I didn't know that there really was a Chincoteague and there really was a pony penning. I thought it was all part of the story, the book. And then we delved a little bit further and researched it and found out this really is a place.
It's a similar reason why Alexandra Blair says she and her family drove 17 hours from Missouri to watch the swim.
Well, we always heard about Misty of Chincoteague, and it's such a popular event that we had to come at some point.
Ro Terry, public information officer for the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Department, credits the swim's nationwide popularity to social media.
I used to go home and my hardline phone, it'd be flashing with my answering machine, and that's the only way they got a hold of me.
According to Terry, this event easily draws 40,000 to Chincoteague Island every summer. And folks we spoke to say the travel was well worth it.
We're excited. We've never seen anything like this before.
Lily Zhang, 47
Jet
ABC.
skis may look fun, but they can also be very dangerous. That's why officials say it's important to know what you're doing. Captain Butch Arbin of the Ocean City Beach Patrol says, for starters, jet skis have no brakes and won't steer unless you're pushing the throttle.
Very often, people on a collision course with something, their first attempt is to let the power off and turn the wheel, but it's not changing the direction and it's not stopping, and they have collisions. In the bay, the biggest hazard are the other jet skis and boats. In the ocean, the biggest problem is that they get in too close to our swimmers, and if they get inside the wave can actually change the direction of the jet ski and push it where they don't want to go.
Before getting on a jet ski, Arbin says you're supposed to have a Maryland Safe Boating Certificate, but not many abide by those rules.
When operating a jet ski, officials say it's always important to remember the 360 rule. Always be at least 100 feet away from any other person or jet ski in the water, and always be at least 300 feet away from shore.
Arbin says you also need an audio warning device like a whistle, just in case something goes wrong. He also says nobody should ever ride alone.
We've seen them flip over in the inlet and the person can't right it, so they're stuck in the inlet with an upside down personal watercraft that they can't get back on.
Making a personal flotation device that much more important. Wayne Carey owns Top Gun Water Sports.
Safety is number one with us. We definitely pride ourselves on a perfect safety record, and we go over and above with training, hiring the best staff, paying a little bit more to have the best staff.
Carey tells 47 ABC before the summer season starts, they review rules and regulations and test on basic jet ski knowledge.
You know, the training is the big thing, and really kind of just bringing the people up to speed on, you know, a lot of the basic rules.
And if you follow the basic rules, you're sure to be in for a fun, safe ride. Michelle McConaughey, 47 ABC.
There's a world inside of your smartphone where creatures run rampant. While based on fiction, the new Pokemon Go app meshes 90s fanfare with your community. The augmented reality mobile application creates a virtual world where users could catch Pokemon, well, virtually anywhere. Inside of the game, users travel maps based on the roads we travel and landmarks we admire, looking to catch different Pokemon. For example, in downtown Salisbury, Old City Hall is listed as a Pokestop, or point of interest, as is Holloway Hall on Salisbury University's campus.
Today was like the perfect day to go out. We're like, all right, let's walk, let's not drive. And we just caught a couple Pokemon walking here.
Honestly, I probably wouldn't be doing much today, but we got together with some friends and now we're out walking around.
Pokemon fans span far and wide, according to Andre Simmons of comic and game shop Phoenix Rising. So much so that since its release, the app has even helped in boosting business.
We're already a social spot for that type of genre of fandom, but that just brings more people in, casually coming in, trying to catch Pokemon in here, having a good time. One thing essentially leads to another. And overall, it's very positive.
Greg Woodone, 47 ABC.
Field over Cleveland. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan was just one politician who chose to attend the 40th annual Tall's Crab and Clam Bake instead of the Republican National Convention.
Everybody has an option if they want to go, but I thought it was more important to stay here with Marylanders. People in Maryland elected me to be governor. They didn't, I don't have any obligation to play politics in Cleveland.
That was a sentiment shared by Maryland District 7 delegate Kathy Schlega.
All 38 delegates in Cleveland already know me. There's no voters in Cleveland, they're here.
The Republican U.S. Senate nominee says if elected in November, one of her main priorities is economic growth. Delegate Schlega tells 47 ABC she's in support of less regulation on small businesses. And in terms of Donald Trump officially winning the Republican nomination for U.S. president on Tuesday night.
Well, I've said since November when I got in the U.S. Senate race I would support our party's nominee, and I'm a woman of my word, so I am supporting our party's nominee.
In March, Governor Hogan reportedly told the Associated Press if Donald Trump won the GOP nomination, he would consider voting for someone else. When we asked him on Wednesday, nomination for Donald Trump, any comment on?
No.
Lily Zhang, 47.
An idea that started with 2 women 4 years ago has grown into a rewarding experience for everyone involved. Annette Reaping of Operation Seize the Day says the hope is that events like Friday's Motorcade Welcome Home event will help ease war vets' pain, recognize them, and help them move forward.
We don't understand the worlds they live in. We have a very generous community that open their arms to our veterans.
So generous that they've opened their homes for these vets to stay for 5 days for their annual Warrior Beach Week. But it's not only Bethany Beach homeowners pitching in, it's the businesses as well, providing amenities including meals, golf, paddleboarding, boating, and fishing, just to name a few. William Scott is a volunteer, and he says it's a blessing to know that he's able to be there to help out in any way possible.
A lot of times we take for granted some of these people have never been to the ocean, they've never seen the Atlantic, and to them it's just a great opportunity, and I just enjoy and love giving back to the best of my ability.
One war veteran who's especially thankful is Adam Stasiak. After joining the Army Reserves in 1999, Stasiak was put on active duty in 2003, then spent 2004 to 2006 in Iraq. In 2009, he was honorably discharged, but now he suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder with a traumatic brain injury. Stasiak joined Operation Seize the Day last year, and he says it's been wonderful.
I think one of the biggest ways it's helped me is to reconnect with my family.
Stasiak says he's met plenty of people along the way suffering from similar injuries.
They've inspired us to see how one person handles their situation compared to how I handle it, or to see how one person does something better that I could do, and maybe something I do better that somebody else could do. That's an amazing thing.
Michelle McConaughey, 47 ABC.
Special relationship with everyone. She loved everyone in their own different ways.
Alyssa Dunning is talking about her cousin Natalie Inslee, killed in a car crash on Sharptown Road in early August.
She was like my best friend all the time. Like we were everywhere together, so it was really special to have her around. She would have loved to be here right now.
A soccer match between Bennett, where Natalie went, and rival Mardella. Players from both teams playing tribute, carrying aqua-colored balloons onto the field and releasing them in honor of Natalie, who loved that color.
I'm out here just doing it for her, having fun, so today it means a lot for Bennett to be here. That was like her home school.
Rachel Fritz is a senior at Bennett and says Inslee was a bright person who made everyone happy. When asked how Natalie might feel about today,
I think she'll be really happy to see like 2 schools that both miss her.
Bennett girls soccer coach Ed O'Leary says the competitive history between the schools is nothing compared to the importance of the tribute.
You know, we put aside the rivalry for one day. We all live in this community. It's our community, and even if we have different high schools, you know, it's irrelevant. We need to heal together.
It's definitely been a hard process, but it's definitely been one of the most, encouraging experiences for all of us with coming together and definitely just being there for each other.
Mariah Sterrett is a senior at Mardella. She says Natalie was one of her best friends.
Her sense of humor was definitely the best thing about her. The whole community has just been like overpouring with the support, and I just feel like there couldn't be a better way to honor her and, bring the school and community together.
Bennett may have won the match, but if you ask Mardella soccer coach Katie Gregaris,
this was bigger than a soccer game today, and I think they all knew that in their hearts and the way they played.
To end the tribute, Dunning spoke about her cousin before an enormous crowd.
I ask that everyone walks away with one thing that I say. Don't forget her. Don't be afraid to talk about the tough times. And remember to keep her legacy alive every day. She really is a good luck charm. Stay Natalie strong.
Michelle McConaughey, 47
Going
ABC.
about 12 hours a day.
From the moment the sun comes up, Jan Walker is on the move. Walker started her 2,700-mile journey in Oceanside, California on March 1st and only has a few miles left until her final destination, Ocean City, Maryland. And it's all for a good cause. Walker works for the 9/11 National Memorial Trail Alliance, which is dedicated to raising money to create a trail to connect all 3 crash sites from the September 11th attacks. When it's completed, the trail will be about 1,300 miles long and will connect the Pentagon Memorial, the Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and the National September 11th Memorial in New York City. Walker says when she was able to put a few things on hold, she knew she had to take the opportunity.
I just kind of wanted to see if I could do it, and I'm not getting any younger. So the time is now.
When it's time to sleep, Walker says she usually finds a hotel or bed and breakfast. But if that's not an option, she'll set up the tent or hammock that she carries and camp out. A typical day, getting up in the morning, getting her gear sorted, and taping her feet to prevent blisters. Walker then has some breakfast and is on her way. Some of the scariest moments of her journey so far?
The petrifying moments have all been vehicles. You have to be on guard all the time. Mentally, it's extremely tiring. And when you're tired mentally, you're tired physically.
But Jan says, for the most part,
actually everybody's been really good and very helpful, and I've had nothing but great experiences with that.
There's a lot to see across the U.S., and Walker says among the most memorable stretches was crossing the I-55 bridge in Memphis over Mississippi.
Another highlight was actually getting to go through Tennessee, my home state, and walk right to my front door. And my parents' front door. That was great.
Walker says throughout her trip, she's had really high highs and really low lows. But the key is to keep your mind busy.
Basically, I've solved all the problems of the world and wrote about 400 books and those kind of things just to keep my mind. Because if your mind starts sinking down, then you get so tired you can't even move along.
And how good is it going to feel when you finally get to
Oh my gosh. It is going to feel wonderful.
To finish her 7-month-long journey across the U.S., Jan says on Saturday she'll start here at the 9/11 Firefighter Memorial and then make her way over to the pier. But Jan says her trip won't be officially over until she dips her feet into the Atlantic Ocean. In Ocean City, Michelle McConaughey, 47 ABC.
And we think it sounds more bureaucratic that this is the way we've done it before, and so this is the way we're going to do it. But I think anybody who looks at this from a common sense perspective says that if another place is getting 90% of the benefit, we shouldn't be picking up 90% of the cost.
This was a great opportunity to celebrate what's best about Delaware, which is our ability to come together, to bring to the table private dollars, state, federal, local dollars, and preserve a key piece of the Nanticoke River watershed, which is also now going to become part of the state's efforts to conserve a whole region here.
This is tangible. This is come to our community, spend the week. Need a place to stay for you and your family? We'll provide that place.
Now, these tips aren't to discourage anyone from getting a moon bounce. They can, be a lot of fun. You just want to make sure you're safe. Reporting in Salisbury, Jovina Fortson, 47 ABC.
Thank you very much, Travis. Well, anytime it gets this hot outside, it bears repeating. There are real health risks to be aware of, and of course, tips to follow to keep you safe. And joining us now with more on the heat and some of those tips as well, 47 ABC's Michelle McConaughey, live in Salisbury. Michelle?
Hey, David, you and Travis weren't kidding. It's hot out here. We're currently sitting at about 90 degrees here in Salisbury, but we do have a heat index of 100 degrees, meaning it really feels like 100 degrees outside. Now, I'm holding a thermometer in my hand just to show you how hot the floor is.
Now I'm getting a reading of about 104.5 degrees, and that's just the cement next to me. Now, as you can see behind me, there are not many people walking around the downtown plaza. Not many people want to be outside in this extreme heat, but if you do have to be outside, there are a few tips to help keep you cool.
There are even signs at the Assateague Visitor Center bathroom that clearly say, keep your distance from the horses.
Welcome back. Turning now to a developing story out of Worcester County. Authorities are investigating after they say a body washed ashore this afternoon in Ocean City, and that is where we find 47 ABC's Lily Zhang. Lily, what else do we know?
Hey, thanks so much, David. Well, authorities have confirmed it was a male body which was washed ashore on 127th Street here on Oceanside in Ocean City. I'm going to step out of the way so you guys can see. According to Ocean City Police, this all reportedly happened around 4:22 this afternoon, and actually just a few minutes ago, the body was actually just taken off the beach tonight. Now, we're told a citizen actually saw it floating in the water, but initially could not tell what it was at first. That's when a lifeguard went to investigate and pulled it ashore. Now, again, we're still in the very, very early stages of this investigation, so a few unanswered questions at this point, but of course, you can find the very latest on our website, 47abc.com. David?
All right, thanks very much, Lily. 47 ABC's Lily Zhang reporting from Ocean City.
Dramatic and moving, all experienced under a customized traveling tent. And with the appreciation of art and circus production combined, there's no doubt it'll be a night remembered.
So Bats came up with Tip Tough, an invention that makes sure your fingers don't get cut while you're slicing your food. But Bats said none of this would have been possible without Salisbury's YAY program, which stands for...
And this day serves as the 156th anniversary of the Battle of Antietam, known by people in the South as the Battle of Sharpsburg, where 27,000 people were killed and wounded. And right behind me here is the original Confederate flag that was last seen flown in battle on that day.
Emily, the big question here today in Baltimore was how are these correctional officers able to sneak into the prison with contraband, deliver that to prisoners, then subsequently allow the prisoners to distribute that contraband throughout the prison? As we heard today, the answer isn't as simple as a question
that many have been anticipating is finally here Election Day. 47 ABC's Michelle McConaughey is in New Church, Virginia at their local fire station where the polling center has been set up since early this morning. She joins us live with updates. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Lenita, we're back here at the New Church Fire Station in Virginia, and people are still coming through to vote. I was just inside a couple of minutes ago. The place is still pretty packed. We were actually here earlier this morning at 6 o'clock when they opened the polls, and it was very, very busy. Now, we spoke to the assistant chief of this precinct, Brenda Laws, and she says they opened up the polls this morning at 6 a.m., and they had 10 people already waiting outside. Laws says it's important that when folks in Virginia do come to vote, that they bring their IDs with them, a photo ID that is, whether it's a license, a work ID, or even a student ID. Laws adds she's expecting a very busy day.
We are in the thick of the Black Friday shopping frenzy this morning. Plenty of stores have been open for several hours, others prepping to cater to waves of customers. 47 ABC's Lily Zhang joins us live outside of the Best Buy in Salisbury. Hey Lily, what's it like out there?
Hey, Julian. Well, not that many people in line right now, just a few as you can see right behind me. But keep in mind, the store actually doesn't open until 8 a.m. But standing in line with me right now are a few of our new friends. First and foremost, you guys told me you've been in line since 5 a.m. Why wait in line?
All the good deals.
Good deals. Like, well, are you guys looking for anything in particular?
Yeah, we're both looking for TVs. So.
For TVs. Well, speaking of which, do you have any advice for any new shoppers out there?
Don't be him and don't get in my way.
You heard it here first. Okay. All right. Well, just keep in mind the store doesn't close until 10 p.m. tonight, so lots of time to get a few gadgets and toys. But for now, we're going to send it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Lily.
I don't mind the heat, but when it gets muggy and hot, that's no fun at all.
The system has its way. I mean, it all has a process, and it sounds like the process served what it was supposed to do.
It's just for the first time to see somebody be held accountable for things that they do and not hide behind that badge. It's wonderful to see, but to see it act out and now everybody get away with what they do, that's horrible.
I am not in agreement with that decision. That's terrible. That's injustice in its furthest form.
I'm not surprised, but I don't think that justice was served.
One, I take care of my parents, everybody I know, donate some to the veterans because I'm a disabled veteran.
Give some to my kids.
or grandkids?
I don't really play the lottery. It's what's 1 in 165 million, I believe, is the chances for this one. So no. However, of course, it's fun to think about.
I will just 10% will go to the church, okay, and the rest I will distribute among the family.
I think he's probably going to be a strong running mate, and I think we're going to see a big difference in Donald Trump in the next 2 months.
I don't know anything about him other than the law that he recently passed in Indiana that was so controversial.
We're just over a week away from this year's Halloween celebrations, but it seems like this year there is quite a stir being caused by some costume choices. One of the notable issues, those wishing to go as creepy clowns. The national phenomenon of clowning has taken over in the past few months, following reports from areas of South Carolina where adults dressed as clowns apparently try to lure children into the woods. The trend has continued even onto Delmarva, as many clown sightings have been reported in our area. With that in the back of everyone's minds this year, 47 ABC went out into the community earlier today to ask folks what they think about the idea of dressing as one.
Oh, no, don't do it.
But I do feel like it should be banned because, like, people are just going to be so, like, scared.
You know what you're getting yourself into when you dress as a clown, so why would you do it?
And another topic of conversation we talked about with folks tonight is what they think about dressing up as another race, something that has been on the list of controversial costumes for a long time.
It wouldn't bother me at all. I mean, all it is a costume. They dress up the way they feel.
That's been going on forever. You know, now it's just a big issue because of the way the world is and the way the economy is these days, so they're making a big issue out of it. But that's been an issue way before our time.
Tell us how excited you are for tonight's concert.
It's so exciting.
And who are you most excited to see?
Cassie Pooh.
You're going to go meet Cassidy tonight. How excited are you?
Way excited.
And what are you going to say to her?
Can I please go upstairs?
I don't think you should go to that extreme, but honestly, I don't think you should have the right to burn the flag. I mean, that's our country's flag. You shouldn't be able to burn it, but definitely no jail time.
I agree with him. I just don't think they should be doing that.
I think that burning the flag is free speech. I wouldn't do it, and I don't agree with it, but you can't throw someone out of the country just for burning a flag.
I think that's ridiculous. Again, the flag is more of a materialistic thing, so let them do whatever they want with their flag. It doesn't hurt the integrity of this country.